Welcome to the CPTM Smart Partners Hub. And today is Friday, 16th of September. And we were very much in the CPTM waiting for the International Standard Organization General Assembly and Devco meeting to take place. And also to see in what way the CPTM network of the Quality and Standards Inclusion Initiative are progressing with their own interest, particularly in raising the strategic value of the Bureau of Standards in each and every country and globally. So, as usual, as soon as the ISO General Assembly is finishing, everybody's going home, and we have smart partners who pass through London, such as obviously one of our founder of the group on standards inclusion, that is from Caribbean, and she always represents Caribbean and the smart partnership movement and the dialogues. That's Anta Ismail. She's the leader of the Bureau of Standards in Barbados and a leading figure in the Caribbean and the ISO itself for quite a number of years. Anta, welcome. And I should only add one other thing, that since you appeared, although it was such a bad weather and rain, you look like, with all the Caribbean optimism, look like there is no more rain out. Things are happening in a very happy mode, and it looks like also the ISO meeting was a very good meeting this year, and I'm very, very glad that Anta continues to be one of the main smart partner involved in the both Bureau of Standards Quality and Inclusion Initiative, but also in relation to the overall smart partnership movement's cooperative framework. Anta, we know each other, and we know Caribbean since almost 30 years ago. And you know, probably you and me, we don't know each other, but the Caribbean and the Barbados were founders, more or less, of the what we call CPTM today. For whatever reason, since we met, and we met because Dudley Rind was very keen. He was before the Bureau of Standards, and Dudley Rind was brought in by the Chief of Agricultural Sciences, Percy Jeffers. And Percy Jeffers, you see, was brought in in the Caribbean. So there is a whole family chain. Or in fact, and the reason why I mentioned that also is because if you want to discuss about what is a blockchain technology is a block and a chain, is a block of information, there are databases, distributed ledgers, not necessarily in finance, is about information, people, which is linked to one another. And whatever is taking place in one block is registered in the other blocks, and so on. So there is trust among them. So the blockchain is a metaphor nowadays in the digital landscape. For us, is a metaphor for networks. And CPTM has been striving and evolving on that. So when I'm saying that we know you because Dudley was very keen to you as taking over from him in the Bureau of Standards to be part of, but you could very well choose not to. And Dudley was brought in because Percy Jeffers. So it's a blockchain of trust, of information. So I suppose the ISO this year was very much in China, in Beijing, very much, among other things, dealing with this new initiative of developing a standard for blockchain technology, which is new for everybody. Okay, so very curious how everything went, just in one or two sentences.
The assembly was packed.
Right.
The program was really packed.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Focusing on the digital age. Now they're talking about the Internet of Things.
Of course.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And we were also looking at standards as they relate to trade
And to sustainability, I understand, to environment. Am I
Pardon?
right? To environment?
yeah.
Understand. Mm-hmm.
So overall it was very interesting. There were, as you know, we had, for the first time, we had an election for the next president,
Uh-huh.
and two very capable and competent
Mm-hmm.
candidates.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it really was a pity that one had to win and one had to lose.
Which usually is the case,
Yes.
unless there is a joint smart partnership, but it's
Yes.
not yet
Not yet at that
in
level.
governance.
But they're both wonderful people,
Yeah,
two wonderful people.
Mm-hmm.
And well, going forward, ISO has a lot on its plate because they also have to identify a new Secretary General.
I understand it's happening this weekend or something like this, or next week, something like this.
That might
But
just
very
be
soon.
one.
Yeah,
That might just be one phase of the
yeah,
process.
yeah, probably. Mm-hmm.
And then they are reviewing their statutes, their
Right.
bylaws.
Uh-huh.
So over the next
There are
2-3
quite a lot of
years,
things.
yes, it's going to be interesting within ISO.
So from the Caribbean, how many of our colleagues NSBs are members or associate? You don't necessarily need to be member and associate not to
Not to attend.
attend.
This year we were represented by, we have 4 full members
Mm-hmm.
in the Caribbean, as members of ISO, full members. And 3 of those attended. It was Barbados, St. Lucia, and Trinidad and Tobago
Right.
were represented at the General Assembly. And 1 correspondent member, the Bahamas,
Mm-hmm.
was also represented. I don't think the Bahamas has yet been involved in the Smart Partnership.
Oh, Bahamas involved quite a lot in. You see,
Not the Bureau, though.
the Bureau of Standards is incipient.
Mhm.
Yeah, as we understood about a year ago.
Okay.
We've been briefed by the BEST, the Science, Technology and Environment Committee, and that there is a standards evolving. Yeah, but it wasn't separated from trade or something like this.
The Bureau was officially opened in July this year.
Uh-huh.
They do have new premises. So I think they
Right.
are, yes, no,
Very good.
they have their own
Mm-hmm.
premises. They were officially opened early July this year.
Excellent, excellent. Very good.
So you have another potential
Member in the
yes,
network.
member in the network.
Very good, excellent. So they were in Beijing.
They were
Mm-hmm.
a part
Very
of the assembly
Very
as
good.
well.
Mm-hmm.
We have, within the Caribbean, there are 15 cross-SKU members. There are 15 members.
So are they
You
the
were the-
16th or
No,
no?
Bahamas is part of the 15.
Uh-huh.
You would have already engaged the cross-SKU CEO.
Yeah.
And there are only 2 members of CrossQ that are not members of ISO.
Right.
We
Right.
have,
That's very, very good.
yeah. So there are 4 full members I think there are
Associates?
six correspondent members, because St. Kitts and Nevis recently joined ISO.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
3 subscriber members, and 2 that are not members currently.
Who are they, the 2, if I may ask? Yet.
Grenada, who was a member previously.
It was, yes.
And Montserrat.
Grenada was a member before, yeah. Anyway, they will probably come back. Yeah, interesting. That's the reason why probably Honorable Prime Minister was interested last year in trying to raise a profile for the...
But they were one of the members instrumental too in establishing CrossQ at the time.
Yes.
Because that dates back to the
60s.
MSC, the Caribbean Common Market Standards Council, Common Market Standards Council, CCMSC. And Grenada was very
active.
Instrument, yes.
Yeah.
And
I remember Peter Radix when we came in. That's it, yes.
Peter Radix.
Yeah, he was instrumental in our quality management.
Yes.
He told everybody why we need quality standards and management.
Yes.
So Shell came in and Shell International, yeah.
So in those days, yes.
That's why I'm surprised that, but maybe there's a phase.
But then, remember, Grenada had the challenges with Hurricane Ivan.
That took back
Yes.
a lot of developments in Grenada.
Yes.
Since then, actually, there are developments. But,
yes, and they are reconsidering joining.
Yeah,
I'm not too sure when that would happen, but they are.
The nutmeg issue and all sorts of other things, music and I don't know what, they were leading into in relation to standards.
So that is actively under consideration.
So in Beijing, the alongside the Caribbean CPTM type of network that we have in the quality and standard inclusion, we have the African group, Southern Africa and so on, quite actively involved, particularly due to a number of central bank governors who are, most of them, with the exception of Barbados, Delisle, and the governor of Delisle, and Malaysian from Central Bank Malaysia, most of them are leading figures in African context, and there are quite a number for that reason of Bureau of Standards somehow engaged closely, both in Smart Partnership International Dialogue, so they were present in big way, right?
Yes.
And then I understand ASEAN members were more present because of the geographical.
Yes.
Okay.
So yes.
Yeah. So the kind of statement that you all have in trying to share with the others that there was a need for an obvious need and recognition for National Bureau of Standards as being strategic players in addition to their technical role. I mean, a few pages, however much you want to make a case for the strategic role, that is small print, which we apologize, it was too small print, because we were told don't put too many pages. So anyway, but the message mattered, that it went all over, so I'm sure you couldn't have read it as a message, but the gist of it was that particularly the digital landscape brings in even more so the Bureau of Standards.
Yeah, because when you really reflect on
the evolution of the whole.
Yes, and on commercial activities, life in general. When you seriously analyze, you recognize that standardization, standards, even metrology, science of measurement, those things are fundamental to human endeavors, to trade. The world as we know it now would really not exist without some type of standards. The challenge we have is that when things are working well, nobody really gives a thought to the standards and what makes things, the things that would make all of these things happen and happen so smoothly.
Yeah.
It is when the standards aren't present, things go wrong.
Say what
Then,
can be done.
Yes. Then suddenly people, it is recognized then that, standards do exist.
But
So
maybe this rush and heat of digital developments, maybe that also, not just what's going wrong, but the competition in trying to be first in applications within the digital landscape, such as blockchain, makes an immediate relevance to if only we were to have a standard. I remember,
the thing is, those things work and work so well because of the standards.
That's it.
Yes.
It. So there is already a protocol, one would
Yes,
say.
yes. Because they all have to talk to each
To be
other.
interoperable. Yes.
Right. So without the standards, it still would not happen. Yes. So we who are involved in standards are always thrilled when, to some extent, you don't hear talk about standards because we know things are working well. So once they're working, we know the standards are working.
Which make things working because
Yes.
the standards are there.
Because we do have another saying, like, where there are no standards, then chaos exists.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah.
So everything is working well. We know the standards are working.
Okay. Well, I mean that makes the point. For the not the only the national strategic engagement of Bureau of Standards, but for the fact that whatever in a country is taking place, without necessarily calling Bureau of Standards at the table, that doesn't mean that they are not necessarily somehow engaged in. So the
That's right.
only thing that, together with Alan Bryden and all the colleagues, Eve from Zimbabwe and Lomkosi, who is now in SADC from Swaziland, and Rosie Jacob from Namibia, and Ben Munyendo from Uganda, and all the colleagues, Fadila and so on. What this group is about, when one says inclusion, it says that probably one needs to make explicit the fact that the Bureau of Standards and the standard themselves come about into many things that a country does, but they are not visible. But there must be some situations like the development of the digital aspects and the environment and so on, where the Bureau of Standards be called in and recognized. And probably then there are some institutional and budgetary implications for this.
Yes.
And you are a scientist yourself, and you probably employ so many chemists and so on in Bureau of Standard, and so are so many Bureau of Standards in developing countries. And we were discussing about the fact that Bureau of Standards are, without even discussing about it, some of the best employers of being an active scientist, a chemist, an engineer, but that is not being talked about it very often.
That's true.
Yeah.
And in the end, you have captured it really well.
Okay.
In your SMART partnership, is quality and standards.
This is the reason why we are
those are
promoting
basic,
this.
the basic elements really in successful commercial activities.
Yeah, and more the financial sector and
Yes.
central banks are dependent on them.
That's right.
Because of, I mean, there is an extraordinary interconnection. It's an extraordinary future of being a strategic standard maker.
Yeah. It's exciting and it continues to be exciting.
So irrespective is Barbados or UK or Australia or China.
That's right.
That's the point. It's
yes.
quite. And anyway, well done. And very, very great to have you. And it's one thing to put up papers, one thing for me to talk by having talked to you over the phone, is another thing for people to see you in flesh. And thank you for passing by through the hub, and hope you have a bit of a rest now, because when you come home. So hope we come to the Caribbean.
Yes, yes. It was my pleasure.
Next week.
And I'm looking forward to seeing you in the Caribbean.
Okay, thank you.